We are not doctors. Nothing in this podcast should be taken as medical advice. Consult your physician before starting any workout routine. This is the Martial Heart Podcast.
Let me tell you a story. For quite a few years, I would have postnasal drip, inflamed vocal cords where I would start to lose my voice, and sometimes just get straight up laryngitis where I couldn't, talk very well and everything. And a runny nose, that sort of stuff. And postnasal drip would go down into my chest and get congestion in there. And, you wind up coughing up phlegm and things. And so for years, my doctors, two of them actually, said that it was just allergies and that I could deal with it with over-the-counter stuff like Claritin, etc. Other, there's a whole class of drugs out there designed to keep you from feeling those allergic reactions to nature. And so this never worked for me. And I finally had a doctor who got tired of hearing me complain about it. So he started investigating what could be causing this. So when I had really bad laryngitis one time, he sent me to see an allergist because it's my allergies that are acting up. So you need to go see this allergist. So I did. And the first thing they're going to do is do an allergy panel on me to figure out what I'm allergic to, what could be causing this terrible thing that bothers me all year long to happen. So, in the old days, they used to do it on your back. When I was a kid, they always talked about they would put these little prick things on your back. But they did mine on my arms. I think they did both arms. I don't remember. It's been a while ago. And they, have these different, allergic reaction causing things, and they just scratch you in all these different places. And there's a chart showing which thing is which. But to start out with, they use a histamine that essentially every human is allergic to. And they use that as the control so that they'll know what your skin is going to look like when it starts reacting to this other allergen. And that's how they kind of get a picture of what things you're allergic to. It might be dust mites, might be, pollen, might be, peanuts, horsehair, all sorts of things. And the one thing that they realized was that I'm not allergic to anything. The histamine control that they use didn't even react on my skin. The nurse had to make an excuse about, well, I think I can maybe see a little red dot there, so I think that's enough to go on. But there was absolutely no reaction to that control histamine either. So what we figured out was that it was GERD, that I had acid reflux really bad, that was coming up into my throat, into my nasal passages, inflaming my sinuses and my nasal passages and all these mucus membranes in here, and causing the creation of mucus to try and flush out this inflammation in my sinuses and in my throat and everything. So my body was reacting to this burning sensation. It was trying to flush out this, acid reflux that was irritating my throat, my sinuses, and all that other stuff. So, they did some medications. They put a camera up my nose and down into my thing, which was kind of cool. I got to watch them look at my vocal cords. But anyway, they figured out that's what it was. Swapped up some medications. Started giving me these certain medications to treat that thing. You take one in the morning and one at night, and you do that. And eventually it mostly cleared up. But, you also have to watch your diet. You have to not eat certain things, and you have to not do certain things at a certain time before you go to bed and all this other stuff. So it's really hard to live under that complete regimen. So it didn't completely go away, but it did improve dramatically over the years after that when I learned how to manage it. So that's the first part. Probably 27 years ago, I had an infection and I was given an antibiotic. And it worked fine. The infection was going away, after the first couple of weeks. So, but it wasn't completely gone. So the doctor called in another week's worth of this antibiotic, just to make sure, just make sure it's all gone before we move on. And a couple of days later, I broke out in hives. My blood pressure skyrocketed. My heart rate increased. And we discovered that I was allergic to sulfa. And thankfully, somebody who was around at that time was a registered nurse, and so she knew what to do. I was going into anaphylaxis. So, she went and grabbed a handful of Benadryl and popped a bunch of Benadryl pills into me, and, eventually it calmed down and everything was okay. Stopped taking that. Doctor called in a different prescription. Everything's fine in the long run. So, the term sulfa was added to my medical records at least 27 years ago. And it is the only allergy listed in any of my medical records anywhere on Earth. It's the only thing I'm allergic to on planet Earth. And it's a man-made, it's a man-made compound. It's not even natural. So I can actually say I'm not allergic to anything that nature can produce. But I am allergic to, apparently, some things that humans can produce, and one of which is sulfonamides, or sulfas. And there's a wide array of drugs that have sulfa in them. And we learned that because I used to suffer with migraines a lot. And they came out with this fantastic drug called Imitrex. See, they used to just give you barbiturates, and they would just pump you full of barbiturates. And they didn't make your migraine go away, but they kind of made you not care that you had a migraine. And because you were high and you might sleep a lot, you were groggy, and those barbiturates worked on a whole host of other things, not just migraines. So, hey, if I had a knee pain, I could pop some of those barbiturates and I didn't care anymore. Having trouble sleeping, just pop a couple, 2 or 3 of those. Yeah, you'll fall asleep. It was good for a whole bunch of things, and highly addictive, which is why I stopped taking them. Because I noticed that I enjoyed taking them a little too much. But when Imitrex came out, they were like, now it's an injection. They can just punch you with a needle, shoot you with this thing, and it deals with your migraine. And it's not a narcotic, and it won't make you groggy. It's not addictive. It won't do any of these weird things that these wonderful barbiturates do. So I'm at the doctor's office, because I'm suffering with a migraine that I've had for a day or two. And he's like, hey, we have this new drug. We want to try this on you. Are you game for that? I'm like, sure, whatever you need to do to make the migraine go away. So they puncture me with the Imitrex. And he's like, since it's a new drug, and you've never had it before, we're going to keep you here in the exam room for, 45 minutes or so to make sure you don't have a negative reaction to this drug, because it's a new drug. Well, about 10 minutes into it, I had a negative reaction. My heart rate jumped up. My blood pressure increased. I broke out in hives. I was short of breath, and I was struggling to, take a deep breath. I became like a wreck. I started shaking, and it was nasty. It was terrible. And that was how we figured out that Imitrex has sulfa in it. So I was reacting to the sulfa in the drug. And then a few years later, probably maybe 10 years after that, to treat my arthritis, which I'm riddled with it all over the place, the doctor recommended that I try Celebrex because it's really, for some people, it's a really good drug for arthritis, osteoarthritis in particular, I guess. So, we got to see if it'll work for you, because we can't keep giving you opioids and stuff just for pain. We have to get, this anti-inflammatory thing in your system and treat it a little bit better. I'm game, no problem. Well, the same thing happened, because Celebrex has sulfa in it. And so tonight, after several days of going through Just this really terrible thing where, pounding heartbeat, elevated heart rate, elevated blood pressure spiking and then going back down, and all these other things. Feeling like my face was sunburned and the back of my neck was sunburned. And tonight, I'm really racking my brain to think about this because the doctors are just going to go, let's adjust this or do that. So I was really racking my brain, and I'm like, you know what? Some of these symptoms I felt before. And so while discussing it, I'm like, yeah, like when I took Celebrex, this is kind of what I felt like when they tried to give me Celebrex for my arthritis. Oh shit, does losartan have sulfa in it? And the answer is yes. The blood pressure regulating medicine that they put me on has sulfonamides in it. It's a sulfa thing that's in the drug that they are giving me. It contains the one thing listed in my medical records as causing an allergic reaction, a negative reaction in me. One thing. There's only one. I've said this a few times now. It's the one thing, sulfa. It's the only thing listed. When I was in the hospital, I had a wristband on that said allergy, sulfa, so that everyone in the hospital knew I have an allergy to sulfa. Don't give them any of that stupid medicine that might have sulfa in it. Like losartan, my new blood pressure medicine, that they replaced the old medicine that worked fine because they wanted to put me on this heart monitor that I'm now, I still have like 3 days left that I have to wear this thing. But so my blood pressure medicine has sulfa in it, and I'm pretty much going to make sure that I drive this into everyone. I'm trying to drive the point home now. The medicine they put me on has sulfa in it, and I'm having an allergic reaction to that medicine. And so I have a cardiologist who, in his defense, I don't know why I would say that at all, because I'm not going to defend him at all. He doesn't know me that well. He's only seen me a couple of times. I only learned who he was while I was in the hospital getting ready to have open heart surgery that thankfully didn't happen, but probably should have happened if I wanted to have long term be better. Anyway, but obviously they have access to my medical files, obviously, and somebody would read it trying to figure out what allergies I would have. And somebody would look up the ingredients of losartan or Cozar, Cozar, C-O-Z-A-A-R is the brand name. Somebody would look to see if that might have something in it that I would be allergic to. I guess not. So everyone from the cardiologist to my family physician, who, by the way, said that it's not regulating my blood pressure enough, so we need to double your dose of the losartan, double your dose, one in the morning and one in the evening, give you twice as much because it's not working. And so we're going to double that up. That'll be great. And yeah. So my family physician, who's known me for easily 12 or 14 years at least, missed it. All of the nurses missed it. The pharmacy missed it because they also know. I get it. Most of them don't give a shit anymore. Back in the day when you had a pharmacist, he would know what you could take and what you shouldn't. He would talk to you. He would call you about these bad drug interactions that you might have. I had one call me and say, hey, I don't know what your doctor's doing, but he shouldn't be giving you this medicine because you're already taking this. He may not know. So things like that. But so the cardiologist, my general practitioner, family physician, the pharmacies, 2 of them, and all of the nursing staff, and the insurance companies who've been involved in this since I had a heart attack, missed the fact that I'm allergic to one drug, and that's the drug they gave me to regulate my blood pressure. Yeah. They fucked it all up.